Welcome to Our Girl Relationships. We talk about the problems people face in their day-to-day lives. Let's start with the video. I, female, 26, have been married to my husband, S, male, 24, for the past 2 years. We've both been excited to start a family early and have saved and planned to make it happen. I work in IT and he has his own auto detailing business that seems to be doing quite well. On my 25th birthday last year, we decided to try for a baby, and less than a month later, I was pregnant. It was really exciting news, and everyone in the family was excited to see it happen. Well, almost everyone. I don't know why, but for some reason, my in laws have always been a bit distant from me. Mind you, it's just the in laws, as all of S's cousins, siblings, and aunts, uncles are really nice to me and include me in a lot of family activities. From what they have told me, they don't approve of me as a wife and were hoping to control S's choice of a life partner to be someone they 100% approve of. On the contrary, S and I developed and nurtured our relationship without their involvement, and that ticked them off. Furthermore, I don't think they approve of us having a kid this early, and that's also a reason they don't engage with me that much. But to be honest, I don't think that matters to me that much. I'm an independent person and I know my self-worth, so I don't need approval from my in-laws to feel good about myself or my relationship. I've also spoken to S about it and whether it hurts him in any way, and he did say that it put a strain on his relationship with his parents. But overall, he's on my side, with the one niggle that he never out and out supports me when his parents make any offhand comment about me. I don't like this, but at the end of the day, it maintains peace. While that dynamic has been the only stick in the mud, our pregnancy has put it to the back of our heads. I mean, I know that my in-laws aren't into this idea, and so does S, but we don't even have the mental space to think about it. We've been too busy baby-proofing our house, researching good schools, reading parenting books, and God knows what else. Around the 7th month of my pregnancy, my husband started pushing for a baby shower. He thought it would be a good way to unwind, and he said, "Babe, you deserve to be the center of attention." I was quite flattered, honestly, and I agreed to a small event. However, Hubby told me that he wanted to plan it out all by himself and give me a really good experience. This man was acting like a grade A cutie, so I told him to surprise me. Well, S spent like 2 whole weeks planning this baby shower. I would often see him looking up venues, planning, budgeting, and even mulling over the idea of closing down his whole shop for a day to have the party. I knew he was pulling out all the stops, and I was excited to see the results. He finally told me that he'd have it on the last day of February, and I could tell he was proud of whatever he had planned. One strange thing is, the evening before the 28th, my husband got a long phone call, stepped out of the house onto the front lawn, and paced around as if his life depended on it. I was peeking at him through the window, and I could tell that it was getting pretty heated. Once he came back inside the house, I could tell that he was visibly upset about something. And when I asked him about it, he said, "Babe, I don't want to talk about it." As much as I wanted to know, I respected his privacy and knew that he would tell me later if it came to that. Besides, his mood perked up by the time we had dinner. Unless he's a great actor, ha ha, and I put my mind to rest. On the day of my baby shower, my husband had already left the house by the time I woke up, having made me breakfast with a note telling me to be at his garage by noon. I was a little confused, I'll be honest, because I would have preferred showing up at my baby shower with my husband. But maybe he had some romantic gesture in mind. Guys tend to be a little tone deaf about this stuff anyways. When I showed up, my expectations were exceeded by a lot. My amazing husband had made an entire baby-themed auto expo kind of deal. There were strollers in the place of a car, filled to the brim with gifts and little scans of our baby. In the center of it all was my husband's prized possession, a vintage Ford galaxy with a booster seat installed. It was so damn cute, I can't tell you. When my husband showed me around, I just felt like pouncing on him and giving him a big smooch. Our friends and family also started showing up, and everyone I knew and liked was there. Sister, Sandra, came over and congratulated me, saying that she really appreciated the gutsy attitude me and S were taking with this pregnancy and how suffocating her parents could be. We did have a little gossip session, and Sandra told me that her parents had been rewriting their will recently, but was super secretive about it. Anyhow, we didn't think they'd show up at the baby shower anyway, so let's say we were a little lax with our tongues. But then my in-laws did show up. Mother-in-law was looking around judgmentally, and father-in-law looked like he didn't want to be there. Keeping things polite, I went over and said, "Hey, so good of you to come. Would you like me to show you around?" And they both looked at me like I was an alien. Mother-in-law said snarkily, "No, we're capable of walking on our own, thank you. Besides, we're just here to see S." At this point, I wasn't ready to entertain such negative energy on an otherwise lovely day, so I left them to their own devices and went back to talking to my girlfriends. Out of the corner of my eye, I could see them talking to S, and it did not seem like a comfy conversation at all. Afterward, S suddenly asked if he could give a speech. Everyone gathered around and he began to talk, and what he said next blindsided everyone. Nervously, he began by saying, "Thank you everyone for being here. I want to confess something today, and I know that this may come as a shock, but OP has forced this pregnancy onto me." Everyone looked at him like he was joking, but he still went on. "When we were dating, OP always used to talk about having a kid, but I always wanted to wait until my 30s. We had agreed to be on birth control and we got married with this ground rule in mind. But somehow she still got pregnant. I think she stopped taking birth control and never told me. And with that, I can't continue with this baby shower while being so cheery. I'm sorry, everyone, but I think this had to come to light." Once he finished talking, I was ready to burst into tears. This was the first time I was hearing of an agreement to stay on birth control, and the disapproving glares from people my husband had invited and people who didn't know me too well was so embarrassing. I could see my in-laws gloating at the sight as well, and I was distraught. I had a fit and claimed the whole thing was a lie. Without waiting for my husband, I walked out of the baby shower and went to stay at my parents' house. I was distraught, and nobody was willing to explain anything to me. To be honest, I think everyone was just as confused as I was. My sister-in-law, bless her, was texting me nonstop, telling me that she was at the shower, sticking up for me, and that a majority of people weren't buying it. Even worse, a lot of their family drama was coming out of the woodwork then and there, and it was getting awkward for everybody. I couldn't care less, though, because the way I was treated was too freaking mean to be fixed in one evening. I cried myself through the night and woke up to see a bunch of texts from S apologizing and telling me that he messed up and that he was forced into it. I also saw texts from my sister-in-law that explained everything. "Hey, OP, I know you don't want to hear this, but don't hold what S did against him. I found out from Mom and Dad that they had told him he won't get anything from the family inheritance unless he figures out a way to save their reputation. At least that's what they told him. Mom had a breakdown yesterday after I confronted her and told me that she hoped the behavior S was forced into would lead to an impossible rift in our relationship, leading to divorce. Please, please talk to him. He regrets everything he said. Love you, girl." That's what she said, and even then I was pissed. S should be well aware that we don't need the money from his parents, and even then, he could have at least told me what his parents were up to. I feel like I may have been TA at this point because while my sister-in-law was trying to help, I lashed out and texted back a lot of mean stuff, telling her that her family was mean and toxic. I don't even know how to move forward after this, but I do know this. My husband, it's going to be either me or his parents. I am willing to make that ultimatum after what they did. Update 1. So I spoke to S after a few days. I told him in no simple terms that any money his parents could have given us would not be worth what he did yesterday. He agreed with me wholeheartedly and also told me that he had a huge fight with his parents when they saw that he had felt remorseful after that speech. I mean, wow. I asked him to meet up in person that day and he looked like a wreck. I told him what I wanted, which was for him to go NC with his parents. Thankfully, he immediately agreed, and from what I could tell, his sister had no small part in that decision. I'm happy that S knows why what he did was wrong, but this is just the first step towards healing. Update 2. Hey everyone, it's been a few months since the incident and things are looking good. S and I are attending counseling together, and from what I've experienced, his family, barring his parents, have become even kinder and more welcoming to me, perhaps a bit out of guilt. Part of our process of healing was me asking S to let everyone know the reason for his speech that day, and a lot of his family members were appalled at the behavior of his parents. Furthermore, I did read your comments and apologize to my sister-in-law about my tone, but she was understanding about the whole issue. I hope we can move forward like we are now. I mean, you're the only TA for being mean to sister-in-law, who seems like the only sane person apart from you. I do think you are taking this with a lot of maturity, and it's great that S knows why he messed up. NTA, not even for lashing out at sister-in-law. I mean, I wouldn't have taken S back personally, but I think after that kind of treatment, it's completely warranted to act like that, especially when the wound is fresh. Next story. Hi, Reddit. Some time back, my mom passed away due to an aggressive breast cancer. She raised me as a single teen mom, and ever since I completed university, lived with me and my girlfriend so that I could support her. Frick cancer, honestly. Mom was minimal contact with her parents and brother, and I recently found out from her diary that I was called some really mean things like a devil child by her parents. I didn't think much of my grandparents growing up, but this was all uncalled for. Still, as obligatory, they did come to my mom's funeral. I got to see firsthand the shit Mom protected me from. Her mother called me the devil child and started saying that you killed my daughter, you killed my baby. I wrote it off as grief, talking with extreme difficulty, was crying in my girlfriend's arms the next moment we got alone. Things came to a heated point when Mom's father and brother started doing the same thing and told me she should have aborted me. That my birth was the worst thing to happen to their family. At this point, I went up to my mom's ex-boyfriend, Jake, not real name, the closest thing I've had to a father in my life, and his wife, and told them that I want them out at any cost. A little background on this ex of my mom's. He and my mom dated from when I was 7 to 12, and he was slightly younger than Mom. Mom and him ended things due to differences relating to careers, and he ended up marrying a really nice lady and has 2 kids with her for whom I'm big bro. They know I'm not their biological brother, but they respect and love me as if I'm one. And during this entire time with Mom in hospice, this family of 4 has been the greatest support system I could hope for, along with my girlfriend's family. Jake obliged and instructed security to escort Mom's parents and brother out. In protest, a lot of others in my mom's family also walked out, and those of these relatives on social media called me out on depriving my grandparents from grieving their daughter. A few of the moderate ones understood that I'm not in the best state with everything going on as it is, and said that while I did overreact, it was understandable. And the rest are completely on my side, calling them out on their BS and giving me psychological trauma by what they said during the funeral. The entire situation was kind of turned into one where the extended family is divided between me, the devil child, and them, who apparently, according to their supporters, are angel grandparents to mom's brother's kids. This entire situation has been very hard on me, and I haven't recovered well, and I feel like I overreacted on this one. Jake, his wife, girlfriend, her parents, and mom's cousin disagree, but I kind of feel like an a-hole. So, Reddit, AITA, edit. A small clarification that I'd hoped wouldn't be needed. My mom was not loved by her parents and brother. She was kicked out of parents' house when she refused to give me up. Mom's uncle took her in and helped take care of me with his wife for about 3 years while mom finished high school and got herself through community college. Her uncle and aunt were grandpa and grandma to me, though they are not with us anymore. The minimal contact remained at Grandpa's insistence due to his religious belief that some unity in the family must remain. According to Mom's journals, Grandpa and Grandma took Mom and me in due to their religious devotion, and Grandpa was quoted to say, "I will take my sister's sin upon me to repent," something along those lines. Mom's cousin from Grandpa and Grandma is busy convincing everyone that what I did was justified, as he knew what happened 24 years ago. NTA, let me emphasize one thing very clearly: you did not overreact. Everyone's emotions are all over the place during a funeral, but what they did is completely unacceptable, and you were absolutely justified in kicking them out. No one needs that kind of toxicity caused by grief or otherwise. Sorry for your loss. Next story. Hello, Reddit. I wanted to start by saying that English is not my first language, so I might make some spelling mistakes. I, 29, female, have a little sister, 25, female, who still lives at my mother. My parents are separated, dad remarried, but not mom. It's quite normal where I live to stay late with your parents, especially with the energy crisis now. I live with my boyfriend in a co-location. Since I was a teenager, my front teeth are very crooked, but the moment I should have put on braces is when my parents split up and they were not taking care of us. I had to take care of my sister and half-sister, 3, when I was 12, oldest daughter privileges. They did get better a few years ago, but I was almost an adult and it would not be reimbursed anymore. So last year, I took it upon myself to see if I could do it now. I really struggle with my image now, never open my mouth more than I need to talk, etc. I just want to be able to smile, and I can do it, but it's going to cost me more than $5,000. So I tried to save as much as I can, but due to COVID, then the energy crisis, the place where I worked went into bankruptcy, and I had to dip a lot into my savings. My parents said they would help me with 1,500 euros each, since it's their fault they didn't do it sooner, and they paid for my sister's braces, and I'd have to come up with the rest of it. The issue is I learned that my sister, who is shopping addicted, by the way, if you have some advice on how to help her, that'd be great, owes my mother more than 6,000. So my mom can't help me right now, and my dad won't help me until my mother can, but I don't know if she will see her money again one day, to be honest. Well, a few days ago, my sister mocked me when I smiled, saying I really should fix that my boyfriend is going to leave me, and that I'm horrible, that she's ashamed to say I'm her sister. As I said, I've already been struggling with my image since I was 12. This isn't the first time she mocks me, so she has a big part to play in it, and this time I lashed out. I told her she's a freaking toxic, mean, useless leech to everyone. I could do it. But thanks to her shopping addiction and irresponsibility, I couldn't. And some other merry-making choices of words that sent her into oblivion. She started to cry, of course, and says I'm AH for being so mean to her. So AITA? Edit. Some clarifications. I didn't ask my parents to pay. They offered when I talked about it. I did have some savings and a job since I got out of school, but with the energy crisis, cost of life is becoming so high. Energy bills going almost 10 times. A lot of commerces are closing since they can't pay anymore, and it's been harder and harder to find a job. There's like 5 million unemployed people for 350,000 job offers. It's really bad. NTA for getting mad at your sister's remark. It was mean. But it's not her fault you can't get your teeth fixed. Your parents are the ones who never fixed them when you were younger. Your mother is the one who enables your sister's compulsive spending habit by funding her. And you did have a savings account, and it does sound like you were living home until very recently. Likely paying little or no rent, where you were able to save money that some could have been used for your teeth. NTA. I think it's fine that your sister knows that her problems hurt other people. Your sister is the AH, making fun of your teeth, and smile. Stay tuned for more stories from our girl relationships.